What is up, guys, and welcome to the second episode of the Stand Up Podcast. I am your ever constant host, Yuwei Pang, with my ever constant producer, Thomas M. Fresh off a Way Shores top in a Japanese Way Shores regional qualifier. So I know it's not Vanguard related, but congrats to him.
Thank you.
I'm joined.
Congrats.
I'm joined today by once again two of our sponsored players, as well as a very, very special third guest. And I'm just gonna let them introduce themselves right now.
All right, so I'm Phil Lai from Toronto, Canada, part of Strictly Broken. I was here in the last podcast as well. I also have a deck profile and some other discussion video on the channel right now on the YouTube channel. So I'm sure you've seen me before. Take care, everybody. Hello.
Hey guys, I'm Jared, another member of Strictly Broken. Some achievements. Since I wasn't here last time, I'll list some of my achievements. I've top date a couple times. Also been to Worlds twice. It was this year and last year. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Dom. I am this year's and last year's premium regional champion for Richmond. And for those who don't know, I was actually also, unrelated to Vanguard, I was vice champion in 2014 for regionals as well. And yeah, I'm unsponsored. Send help.
Holy, that was a plea for Team Vision or Team WCC. Pick this man up. I have no control over if he gets sponsored with Strictly, unfortunately. Go cry to Tyler or something. But yeah, just a couple housekeeping news to keep you guys up to date. Phantasmal Steed is out. It's all on strictlybroken.tcg.com or our TCG player. So just find our store's name, Strictly Broken TCG, get the cards. You can use stand up, all caps, and exclamation mark at the end to get 5% off of your order on that website, on our official website, not on TCG player. So yeah, definitely use that opportunity to get a little bit of savings for supporting the show. All right. Awesome. Wait, I didn't even give an introduction to myself.
Yeah,
I'm Yuwei. Yeah, I'm Yuwei Pang. I'm a 2016 Waste World Champion. I'm a Vanguard scrub. What's up? All right. And yeah, let's just move straight to the first topic. All right. The first topic, just to keep it plain and simple, we have this awesome guest with us today. We don't usually, I don't know if we'll get the chance to, no, actually, no, we will, because our sponsored players are supposed to win a lot of events. But we do have this guy who isn't on our team here, Dominic Juan, just won Premium in Richmond a couple weeks back. And he won it with Kagero. And we were on our podcast, we even talked about it. Like, that was just something that, like, if I bet money, I would not put my money on Kagero winning. Tell me a little bit about this. Tell me a little bit about your tournament experience and your thought process.
So, yeah, I chose Kagero. I know that, crits are good. Crits are in best of one. I'm like, yo, regionals is best of one. Let's throw in a whole bunch of crits. Should work. And also, I'm still traumatized from Worlds for not being able to stride. And this is the one deck where I don't need to stride to kill the opponent. So that I enjoy. But yeah, in regionals, I think in Swiss rounds, I got my buy card, so that was great. And I dealt with 4 gold paladins in the Swiss rounds. Simon was the one gold pally that took me out. Then for some reason there was ripples, I think.
Holy
and there was
shit.
also and then the last round in Swiss was against Y, playing OTT, but that was a matchup I was used to, so I was able to kill him as well. Top 8, my first round, I was looking at all the top 8 people. I was hoping to go against a Spikes player because I beat him in Shop Challenge, and I know how his deck works. Well, Spikes. And yeah, no, I managed to win that. Round after that, I got the rematch with Simon. I double crit him. I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, got my revenge after him taking me out in all those big tournaments before. And top 2 was against Nubatama. I had my win con in hand. I had to PG it away to survive. And then I top decked the Stride Fodder I've been waiting for almost a year to drop. And then I managed to kill him with Stride, which I didn't expect I would actually have to do. But yeah, that was an experience.
Wow. Wow, pretty anime finish right there. Top deck
Spikes.
stride fodder. That's exactly what would happen in the anime. I'm just curious, Dom. So you won last year premium, and now you win this year in premium. Uh that's really consistent. That's like a super consistent placement, right? Like 2 first place finishes, same regionals. What do you attribute to this consistency?
Well, what I noticed is that both decks I went in with are decks where people aren't too familiar with the matchup. Because when I went last year with Spikes, the reason I went with Spikes is because whenever I went to your locals at Strictly Broken, after I got that Spike Brother deck from Tyler, I kept winning with it. And I was like, okay, I'll go with this. And it happened to be super consistent, so I ended up winning regional. Also, crits are good. Like, and being able to return crits, because my trigger luck was actually pretty bad back then. I'm like, yo, let's return crits so I can hit them. Apparently it worked. And then this year, I started playing Kagero. I noticed it's not bad. People just underestimate it. But then when you rush people with it, they're not sure how to deal with it. I think everyone I've gone against in locals like actually asked the question, do I want to stride first against this or not? And I don't even know the answer to that, to be honest. But yeah, I think one, because there's a lot of crits in this deck, the variance is great. Like, so it is mostly luck. Well, not mostly luck. Sorry. There's sorry. No. I'm a good player, I swear. So increasing the chances and like improving my luck by pretty much maxing out the crits, I felt it would be great in the best of one. And just that's the fact that people don't know the matchup well. It's really strong when they don't know how to fight it. Best of 3 it doesn't do too well, but best of 1 it's great. Same with spikes. So yeah.
Makes sense to me. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, crits are good.
Yeah.
Crits
And okay, so here's my question. Here's my question for you. You're playing 12 crit. You're playing a deck that doesn't build substantial hand, but you're going into a field that has some decks that really demand a lot of hand on you to survive. And now you're playing 12 crits. There's a lot of decks that can actually play 12 crits, but can also build a large hand. Kagero, I don't think is typically attributed to like large hand sizes. Like, how are you surviving these games? I really want to. How are you surviving these games? Honestly.
So yeah, the way the deck's built, it's so because it's a Kagero deck, majority of people don't want to call units early because they're like, oh, I'm just gonna retire it. But that's not even my objective. But the fact that it's Kagero, it's kind of like prevents them from committing units to the board, like works out apparently. And then when I rush them down, they kind of underestimate how much guard value I actually have. So sometimes they swing at the rear. That's a wasted attack. And if they swing with a small unit, I would guard that and just eat the Vanguard attacks. But pretty much I designed the deck so that it can tank a stride turn. So I would play in a way where I can survive an entire stride turn against the opponent and then kill them with the cross. So if I don't win on the cross turn, I don't expect to live. But most of the time, it will get the job done. So that's why I lost against Simon, because he was able to build enough hand. But normally, after my computer just right after the very first stride, most of the time people aren't set up enough to deal with the cross. But that's just what I noticed, because I know Bermuda just gets tankier. Like, this was pre-banlist. Bermuda gets tankier the more strides happen. If I get to that point, I don't win. Luckily, I dodged Bermuda's that day. But yeah, no. The fact also remember from last year, Spikes was good because everyone's early game is pretty bad. Like, early game guard value is really bad. So Spikes and Kagero both took advantage of that as well.
All right, cool.
I want to chime in a little bit here. And so
Sure.
on the topic of playing decks that people don't really know how to like basically play against, like they don't really know the matchup bases, right? I've actually done this before a lot of times as well, where I went into a regionals or a big event with a deck that not a lot of people actually have played against or have even seen before. And you actually really do gain a huge like edge because people don't know what the hell you're doing, and so you can steal wins from people just because like you don't know what they're doing, they don't know what your deck looks like. And so like in a best of one format, it's actually a really really big deal. And so if it was the case where a lot of people didn't really know what the X actually did, which I could definitely say a lot of people don't actually know how the deck works. And when you flip over your Kagero starter, they're just very confused, right? Like it's a really really smart idea to bring a deck with like no one really has experience with it. With oh my god, my English. But yeah, like it's actually a very good strategy going to best of ones, and it is really smart. Paired with a lot of crits, if they don't see that coming either, they're just gonna die. If they don't know you're playing 12 crit, they're just gonna die. So you're just gonna take what you're gonna get, and that's definitely like a really smart thing going in.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions or like things to chime in on?
Yeah, I have a question, Dom. What was like your hardest matchup using the cargo deck?
Like in regionals or
Yeah, at regionals or just in general. Like, what do you have a hard time playing against?
golds. Like not gonna lie, golds. So the three decks that it's like suffered against or really struggled against was golds, Bermuda, and Neo Nectar. Neo Nectar mainly because they rush back, and if they know that I'm not actually going to be killing their units, they're just gonna keep calling their tokens out. And my deck doesn't actually have like many ways. The only thing that retires is Berserk Dragon and Doomjid. So those are my only two retires. But because a lot of people see Kagero, they're like, oh, he's going to retire everything. But some Neo Nectar players don't care. They're just like, bah, toss everything on the field, rush me back. And I can't deal with that because my deck's not designed to deal with that. And I know people were thinking Luard is a bad matchup against Kagero's bad against Luard, but every Luard game I've won. I don't know exactly. Maybe I'm lucky. I don't know. Like, so I'm not too sure about that bit. The Bermudas, normally first game I'd win. Like at locals, we do best of 3. First game I'd win, but then second game they're like, wait, I know how this deck works, and then they just like guard everything, and then I lose. Yeah, but and then golds if they high roll,
Yeah, there's
didn't
nothing
really matter what deck I ran. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, that's those are the 3 matchups: Bermudas, Neos, and what was the other one? Sorry, golds.
Golds.
Simon, oh man, going from 2 units. He went from 2 units to 8 units in 1 turn. I don't know what Galaxy Brain plays he did, but no, I was not ready for that. And I had 3 grade 3s in hand because I've searched it out with Conroe and discarded my guards. That was a mistake. That was my fault.
I think he played Wonder Ezel 3 times. That might have been it.
Don't remind me.
Sorry.
Traumatized, man, but it's fine. I got my revenge in top 8. I'm satisfied.
That's what matters. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Any last questions for him before we move on to the next topic? Or Dom, anything you
I
want to
got
say?
a quick question too.
Sounds good.
It's about what you think about Kagero going into post-banlist, because I was actually thinking about this deck going post-banlist, and I realized it's actually secretly pretty good. Have you thought about it yourself, or do you have anything about it? Any thoughts about it?
Definitely thought about it. I'm like, well, 2 of the 3 matchups that I struggle against have been nerfed pretty much. They got hit by Manhammer. So that just leaves pretty much one thing to really worry about, which is still Neo Nectar. But Bermuda's not a problem anymore because they don't have that Ellie shenanigan. And then what's the other one? Gold's. Well, I guess if Gold's high roll, I still die, but it's not as likely anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only issue I can see possibly happening is that if people start to play the deck more, like the Kagero deck more, people will start to find ways to deal with it. I remember, I think Sean Coe from Alberta was like making fun of the fact that, oh yeah, there's that Cray Elemental that changes your Legion effect so that you have to return grade 2s and above to Legion.
Okay.
I'm like, no, that's disrespectful. Stop it. Nobody run that card. I'm gonna be super triggered.
Yeah, so if you really, really want to beat Dominic at Worlds, you can play a terrible card against 99.9% of the field into your
Yes.
deck. So be Dominic Juan.
No man, I'll run Blade Master instead. They'll never see it.
All right. Well, that Philip, were you looking to poke for something more? Do you have?
I'm happy with what I got.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. Dom, once again, congratulations. You did it back to back in BC. A lot of salty people in the crowds.
Oh
you know,
yeah.
the story is this: this guy in the finals, runs up to the stage, and the entire room is booing him. And I gotta commend you for being such a good sport, because you didn't just like start crying and just leave, but you
Wait, you're
took it. You're
talking-
like, I'm the king. I'm the king. You guys are booing me because I'm just that good, winning with Kagero. So,
But
awesome.
I thought
man.
you were talking about last year because that is what happened last year with Spikes.
Yeah,
Now it's a
back to back, people
tradition,
just booed him up.
Oh,
So
man.
yeah, that's Dom. You're a real trooper, and yeah, just congratulations. I'm excited to see what you do at Worlds. Bring Kagero or whatever you want to bring. Maybe Chaos Breakers. Bring it back. Run it back with Chaos Breaker.
No,
Sorry,
I'll
quick
probably bring the. Oh, sorry.
Oh, this guy's a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah,
Okay.
quick question about the people booing you. Are they just like the friends that you know, or are they like actually just random people? Because if it's random people, that's actually rude. I'm hoping they're your friends.
It's like 90% strictly broken community who are my
Oh,
friends.
okay.
Whoa,
okay.
whoa, whoa, whoa!
No, they're my friends. They're my friends. Let the record show. I love them all in some sort of bizarre way, but yeah, no, they're the ones who like basically play against and I learned from. So I don't mind. I got the win. I honestly don't get offended from the boost because I know, like, whatever, I won. I don't care.
Alright.
All right.
Exactly.
Hey, I just want to put on the record that Strictly Broken is a great community. Let's not roast my card shop
will-
community, dog. You're part of
Sorry,
that
Strictly-
community, man.
I am a part of that community. I love the Strictly Broken community. It's a joke, okay? No,
Alright,
the
awesome.
community's not a joke. Sorry. What I mean is the booing. It's not malicious.
All right, awesome.
Although
awesome.
maybe a couple of people will say it just to try and trigger me, but it's fine. I love them all.
All right. And yeah, that's just wrapping up the conversation. If you guys want to check out Dom's channel as well as the deck profile he did on his deck, the link will be in the description. It's like a 28-minute video. If you want to learn more about his deck and like the actual cross turn that he uses to kill people, it's all described in the video. Once again, congrats, Dom. We can move on to the next topic. So Seacaucus happens, and I have some pretty happy things about Seacaucus that I can rub in Philip's face. But let's talk about standard. Let's talk about standard first. So there was 2 blocks, as I've been told, for Seacaucus, New Jersey, same area. 2 blocks for it. So a lot of players ended up playing. Bermuda post-ban won one of the blocks, and Narukami won the other block. So this is in a post-ban list situation, environment, and Bermuda's takes one of them. I just want to start with that. From Bermuda Master himself, Philip Lai. What do you think?
Yeah, so I brought this up on the most recent video I made as well. It caught me off guard as well because I did think that the deck was a lot weaker going into post-ban list. But it turns out the deck is still pretty strong, and I guess I kind of underestimated how strong the grade 3 turn still is, especially against someone who's unprepared against it. And so that's actually really good news for me because it means I can like continue playing the deck myself, right? So it's like a, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, it's good news for me. And so I still do think the deck is a little bit weaker, so I've been kind of playing around with it as well. But it seems to be strong enough to still like take a big event, which was like a really big deal, right? I think the main question now is how good is it going forward after this? Because we mentioned before that Seacaucus was basically like a one format tournament where it was going to happen once, and then the week after is, which is this week actually, is post-Phantasmal Steed, right? And so this changes everything again. And we don't know how good Bermuda is going to be going into this. It still should be pretty strong, but it's not the same, and we're going to have to see results and just how things go. That's what I think.
He definitely did what's it called? Sonata choice, right? Just to clarify. He's Sonata choice, strong grade 3 turns.
Actually don't know. We still haven't seen his or her. It's a his. Him? His?
Him? I think so.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think
so?
for him, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't seen his list yet, so I don't actually know what he was doing. I'm just gonna assume that it's a Sonata list because that's mostly what people are planning on doing. But I have no confirmation, so I can't say.
Sounds good. And in the other block, and this is great because I just noticed we also have Jared who plays almost exclusively Narukami these days in standard. So Narukami wins the other. Is this a result that you expected as a Narukami player? Is the deck that good during this tournament format where it's post-banlist but pre-Phantasmal Steed? What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Because I think the problem with Narukami before the ban list, or not the ban, yeah, the ban list was Bermuda's grade 2 game was just way, or like grade 1, grade 2 game was way too good. Whereas like it's really fast, and I think hitting the Choco Heart allowed Narukami to like keep pace with it, because there are times where just like if you go second against Bermuda with Narukami and you just literally just get destroyed if they open up broken. Yeah, and it's like now with Choco Heart getting hit, slows down, and you can kind of survive and set up for your grade 3, and then
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I think I talked to you about this, Jared, and last week we talked about it on the podcast. I was always under the impression that Narukami beats Bermuda, but what was enlightened to me last week was that if Bermuda goes first, it doesn't really matter if they have a good matchup. It doesn't matter if they can retire your rear guards. They're literally gonna crit you when you're grade 2 and you're gonna die.
exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. I just think like how the game is right now, like going first, like the advantage of it is just so huge, especially how fast the game is getting with new effects. Like when the game first rebooted, I thought that going first you had your advantage, but it wasn't as bad as right now, especially like effects like Choco Heart, and it was just that card is God. I'm glad it got hit because that card is way too good.
very tilting card. When they go like, yeah, Choco Heart grade 1, call the grade 3 Karo, and then grade 2 with the Choco Heart, call the grade 3 Sonata, and then play the pot of greed, and you're like, wait, what? This is not fair. I'm sure Philip had a bunch of those games pre-ban list.
Oh hell yeah. Leads a lot when you go second. If you have it in your hand, you can just like shit on your opponent, and like it's not even fair because you're going second. You're playing down like a 10k, and you're playing down like another dude on the side, and you're swinging at them 3 times. So like it's turn 1, and you're going second, right? That's the kind of stuff's not supposed to happen, but like that one card allows it to happen, which is what makes it so good.
Dom, do you have any thoughts on these results for standard?
Bermuda's a good deck. Same with Narukami. And going first is, I do agree, it is a huge advantage to certain decks. Well, just so happens it's really good for Narukami and Bermuda.
The 2 best decks going into here, yeah.
It also reminded me, going first is like insanely good for a lot of strong decks out there. And I just remember, yeah, every game I had in regionals, like this is premium, not standard, but I only went second once, so I got lucky on that front. And then I only won because the guy G assisted twice, and then I had the G assist once, and we both whiffed all 3 G assists.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was a weird experience. Yeah, no.
Wow. Re-emphasizing once again going first how strong it is. I think this will be a reoccurring message until, I mean, maybe potentially with that new Nova Grappler card, going second is pretty good. We get the crit, right? But right now, going first, undeniably, doing pressure turns when your opponent's on a 10k is just ridiculous right now, and it's kind of too strong. Anything else you guys want to add for standard? I'm actually not entirely sure of the entire mix of decks in the top 8s, but is there something relevant? Is there something relevant I'm missing?
I think there was 2 Deep Police. Yeah, I think there was 2 Deep Police in Block A, and I thought Deep Police was gonna win Seacaucus. Yeah, because I thought that deck is really good. I still think it's really good right now, but since the new set came out, I don't know how it stands now.
What? So 2 deep block A is Bermuda block, right? The Bermuda guy who
Yeah,
won?
that was the Bermuda block. Yeah.
Did the Bermuda guy play against Deep Police in top 8? Do you guys know?
I'm not sure. I actually don't know much
sure.
about the results. I just know that it was really evenly distributed. Like there was, I think, maybe 3 or 4 Narukami on one of the blocks, but the rest of it was like pretty evened out. Yes, there was a lot of like quote unquote random decks everywhere, which was a good sign.
Yeah, good sign. Healthy format. I mean, post-ban, pre-new stuff, you expect it to be super healthy for that one tournament. Whatever, not important. Premium. Okay, premium is important. I'm excited. Let's talk about premium. So last week podcast, Philip Lai I don't know if Gold Paladin is going to be very good. I'm going to have to see. And what do you know? There's 2 Gold Paladin, but on the flip side, there's also 6 Neo Nectar, which Philip did predict to be very strong. So, Philip is still a genie. It's not entirely wrong. So 2 Gold Paladin, 6 Neo Nectar is the spread. I know the spread for this because it's like super relevant that it's literally 2 decks. Is premium healthy right now?
Yeah, this was a big deal right after the event. A lot of people were talking about this. Vanguard made a very interesting video where he was basically talking about all the current events that happened, and the second half of the video was him complaining about Neo Nectar, which I think was hilarious. It was a really fun watch, but it was actually a big deal, and he brought up some very good points. Yeah, I don't know how healthy this is, to be completely honest. Neo Nectar is very strong right now. What do you guys think?
I mean, the results show, right? 6 Neo
Gold
Nectar
still,
gold.
gold still won though.
Yeah,
Gold still won, yeah.
true.
Because three OG Criff in deck and 1 V Series starting Criff is OP, man. It still works. No one believed?
Okay, so Neo, do we think the gold guy got lucky to have gone through the jungle of Neo Nectar? Like, if you see 6 and 2, I think I'm assuming Neo's would have won, but golds did win. Does that mean that Neo Nectar isn't that strong? Was the gold player actually just better? Does Neo Nectar prey on? Basically, what I'm asking is, does Neo Nectar prey on unsuspecting players? Is there a way around it? I didn't watch Psalm's video, but what is this consensus here?
I don't think it per se preys on unexpected player. It kind of just does its thing. Everyone kind of knows what it does, and it just there's not really much you can do about it. It just kind of like blows like poop in your face, and you're forced to like eat it, right? But then the gold player also, I was told that he actually went through the whole tournament undefeated, and so he was doing something like definitely right. And so I'm not sure if he was doing something completely different from like what we were expecting. But like I was just told by Dominic just now that he was playing 3 OG Crypt in the deck. So there
Well,
is a
that's
lot
what
of.
I read. That's what I
That's
read.
what you read? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't really know exactly what he was doing, but like I do feel like there's still a decent amount of like luck factor in there. Maybe he went first every game, but he would have been broken. But like he was definitely doing something right, and that's something to look at as well going forward. There's a world where people start to realize what is actually good, and like right now this Neo Nectar thing is just an over exaggeration, right? And people start to learn, but like it's still too early to say.
Yeah. I think the guy actually posted his deck list on YouTube, or he
Oh,
posted
did
a
he?
video.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he just uploaded it today.
Was he playing 3 OG Crypt? Did you see it?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's smart to main deck 3. What is he cutting? Like, if you saw the list, because like Stephen Lee's list, shout out to Stephen Lee on our YouTube, like everything seemed like essential to the game plan. So what is he actually cutting for these grade zeros that honestly can be really bad sometimes if you open?
If I remember correctly from the video I watched, I think he cut a couple of grade 1s, and then he ran 8 grade 2s, and he was also using new Wonder Ezo as well.
Oh.
So he had 3 different ways to what do you call
Superior.
that? Superior ride. Yeah.
See, now
So
that's
these-
smart thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, so super consistent superior ride engine. Now it's
Yeah.
like he's just not whiffing superior ride at
Yeah.
all.
So he gave him the most options to superior. So he gave him 3 options of superior ride.
Well, maybe that's why he won. He's just literally cranking it out every game.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say about this? I'm just once again, Philip. Gold is good. Gold is good.
Yeah,
Hell
I also predicted that Luard was going to be good going into this tournament. I didn't see any Luard in top 8, so I don't know what the hell's going on with this. Like, what the hell, man?
Doesn't Luard have a bad match with Neos?
Yes, it does. So in
that
that
would-
many Neo Nectars, it's apparently
Yeah.
right? But I've heard rumors that there's ways to get around it, but I'm not really sure what they are. It's just a lot of like Luard thinking and brainstorming. I don't really know. It's just like a hindsight that I've heard somewhere, but I know nothing about it. You didn't hear it from me, guys.
Luard, yeah, Luard. Can't you outgrade 2 game the Neo Nectar player, and then they
It's
will
hard.
ride up, and then
You can, but it's hard. Because Neo Nectar, everything's free. Luard, you actually need pieces. If you don't open up the main, you have like jack shit to work with.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maka Karen makes a column. I don't know. You can go like Maka Karen column and
Yeah,
into
you
like
have you don't even play Maka in premium. I don't think. I think you have. Wait, actually, you do. Sorry.
no, you do.
Yeah, you do.
100%, man. It's
My
too
bad.
good.
Yeah, it's too good.
But aren't you sacrificing guard value by having to call out units to try and bully them, or like having to like keep combo pieces as well?
Well, if you can represent that you can bully them, they have to ride up, or you can maybe out bully them, right? Because although Neo Nectar can grade 2 game, their grade 2 game don't generate hand. If you keep bullying, their big number column is not going to matter because they're going to be at high damage. So I think they should ride up if you draw Maka. I'm not like, don't quote me on that. I just think Luard should be able to out grade 2 game the Neo Nectar deck. They ride up, but their grade 3 game is also really strong. It like hits super hard.
Yeah.
They ride the Trailing Roses. They like hit you. Super
Something
hard.
with Force 2, like Force 2 is a good imaginary gift.
It's possible.
Just throwing this out there. If a Luard player does open up the main, it's a free column and a free draw if you just open it like turn 1. You just do the stuff. Because like you're doing it twice pre grade 2, right? Well, once on grade 1, once on grade 2, you're gonna have a counterblast open. So your Swordbreaker is gonna draw you a card. So Nemain gave you a whole free column and drew you a card off of Nemain, right? And so you just like you actually do get a bunch of like free value and you get to like fight for board that way. So it's not like completely lost or anything like that. But this does assume that you open up the main. That's the thing.
Yeah, and then one of the 4 Luards in the deck as well.
Eventually.
Seeing that's the only grade 3 in there. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think Luard players just assume that after going like Nemain into Swordbreaker draw into Maka Karen into and then maybe potential GSs, they're gonna find it in the stride.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how the matchup plays out exactly. But maybe Luard was just not represented very highly in the tournament. That's also possible. It's more expensive, 100% more expensive than Neo Nectar. Neo Nectar is a very cheap deck to build.
Yeah.
This is a standard deck with like strides, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, and the strides aren't that expensive.
Plus Gladiolus.
Oh yeah, that's getting a little expensive because people are catching on.
Yeah.
But if you can find a TD that has 2 copies of it.
Value.
We have like 10 Gladioluses in stock on our TCG player. Go buy them up.
It's shameless, man.
All right. Wrapping it up, Seacaucus, anything else you guys want to say about the tournament? Standard or premium results or anything? Not a big deal. All right, sounds good. Let's move on to the tournament that's happening as we speak. So this is airing on Saturday at noon. And as we speak, one of our players, Nicky Goldman's in the tournament. No one was at Seacaucus for Strictly, by the way, except for a Waste player who bubbled.
Yeah, Waste players.
Yeah, Waste player bubbled. It feels bad. But Nicky Goldman's at Seacaucus for standard and premium. Say hi to him. Check hit up his DMs. I don't know what he
slide into his DMs.
Yeah, slide into Nicky's DMs and tell him I said hi. But yeah, so he's there. Say hi to him. He'll be happy to talk to you guys about the brand and everything. But yeah, don't distract him while he's playing. This tournament's very exciting because it's exciting for me because I want to see the standard results. So Phantasmal Steed is out. 4 decks, all 4 are extremely powerful, meta-defining decks. The Pale Moon, the Shadows, the what's it called? Pale Moon, Shadow, Dark Irregulars, and Murakumo. All OP, I think. I think best 4 decks. Do you guys agree? In the format, potentially.
Yes.
Maybe disagree. Some disagreement.
I agree.
I agree.
Fighting a little bit. What's up, Phil?
Sorry. I think it was very slight. I think I should be okay now. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. So Phantasmal Steed, do you agree that probably all 4 decks make top 5 decks in standard right now?
Yes.
Easily. So let's talk about the standard. Let's talk about the standard landscape. So what do you think will do well in the tournament? And what do you think will be highly represented? And what is the 5th deck? If those are the 4 decks, what's the 5th? I'm going to lead and say I think Pale Moon's really good. I got to play it a ton this week. A ton. Literally went out every day, played 6 hours plus every day of Pale Moon. That deck is sick.
Grind, man. The grind.
Yeah,
the grind. Dude. I'm gonna win Toronto with Pale Moon, man. That's no, but jokes aside, shout out to Stephen Lay, but I'm gonna beat you with Pale Moon, man. 27, 20. The columns are 27, 27, 27, 27. You have 12 card hands and going 27. Rear guards, if you call out Lukier with an 8k boost, 33. That's four speeding numbers. That deck's insane. Strong deck, powerful deck. I think if I had to guess, I think that deck can win the tournament, just straight up. I know it has some bad matchups, but wow, that deck is powerful. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think Pale Moon is very strong. It hits you like a truck, and then it draws like its whole it just turns its field into hand, and then it hits you like a truck again next turn. So you're just getting like onslaughted recklessly over and over again. There are ways to play around it. There's the damage denial. It only gets you so far. At some point in time, you're gonna have to give them another damage. Unless you're playing Narukami, you can lock them forever. Haha. But yeah, in general, you're gonna have to give them that damage at some point in time. When you do, they're gonna like pee on you again, and then that's too bad for you. It's strong.
That's true. Narukami has pretty good matchup. Wait, Jared, what do you think of this? If Narukami puts him to 3,
Yo,
3, 2, 2.
Narukami matchup, just chiming this in. If you leave the Lukier player at 2 and they have an Accel circle, you can just punch them for like, what, 4 crit every turn, and they either take it and they die, or they don't and don't get counterblast.
That's true, but I think you can't last like that long because they're gonna be attacking you for like multiple attacks, even if they don't get the Lukier, because they can just ride the other grade 3 that sucks into the soul or whatever. And
Yeah, that matchup starts to get really intricate.
Yeah, because I actually play tested that matchup for like couple hours, and I definitely got destroyed. Like, yeah,
Dang.
like because I did the damage deny thing, but it's just like I'm like attacking for 1, and then they're attacking me like 4 times, and then they're skip. I don't know what the name of the grade 3 that sucks in soul. You draw 2 or draw 1 for every 2.
Dorian.
Yeah, Dorian, and then they
It's a
just
secondary grade 3, yeah.
It's actually their first ride. So Pale Moon players, I did a deck profile on the deck, and I just want you guys to know that ride that first. Don't ride Luke here first, especially if you don't have like a extremely set up soul. Like if you ride that first, it just sets up the game way better for you. You can suck everything up, so they can't even counterblast the knife sometimes. They have to make a Vanguard swing if they're not ready for like a 4 crit attack, and they're giving you an extra damage too. If you get a counter charge off that as well, then you have 2 damage to work with. Yeah, that deck's strong. Do you guys have? I have literally no feedback on any other deck. I'll say this: Shadow seems like the weakest for. We said that last week too. That deck is just not that good. That deck is not as good as the other ones.
I do think that deck's pretty good. It has its issues, but like its power level is definitely up there as well. I think DI might be the weakest deck of the 3. A lot of people think Murakumo is. I think DI is. I have a lot of faith in Murakumo, but DI is just like I don't really like it. I don't like the idea of having to like exodia your opponent so they can't guard. I feel like there's too many things that can go wrong, and there's too many things that your opponent can do to stop you, and it's just it's still really strong. Don't get me wrong, because exodiating your opponent's not actually that hard. There's other playstyles you can go into as well, which are really strong, but it's just like the other 3 decks I feel like are a little stronger than it. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think Shadow's actually, I think Shadow's really strong because their rear guard like waterfall is pretty damn good, and like it's just a consistent deck where it just hits for big numbers because they get the multiple force markers, and then they get multiple attacks. So it's like, I mean, you still have to draw into the blaster darts and stuff, but like I think that deck's really really good.
It's almost like a pseudo Accel deck, like with all the attacks that you get.
Yeah, and you're hitting like ridiculous numbers because of all those force markers on your rear guards.
Yeah, and then Brufus would suffer because it's a protect deck, and you can't really deal with that many multi-attacks at once.
Nicky, I know he's not here. He was really high on DI. Do you think after he played test more, he might be less high on it?
I have no idea.
What happened with DI over last week and this week? Because they were really, really excited about DI. What do you think happened?
I know that he really liked it in premium. I'm not sure how he felt in standard. I think he liked it in standard, but I just didn't like it as much as he did. But then he put the testing in, not me, right? Maybe he knows something that we don't, but it's just like on paper, everything else is stronger than it. But it might actually have something that like is working for it that we don't really know about, and so we gotta see some results first. Like DI is actually one of those decks that I've seen the least played of the 4, and so like in terms of my experience, it's a little lacking compared to the other 3, right? And so you gotta take what I say with a grain of salt as well. I could be wrong. This is our meta analysis. We're not telling you
predictions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyone can be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. I was wrong last week. I thought Brutus was shit going forward, and then it won an event, right? So like, who the hell knows?
Yeah. And then lastly, Murakumo. I guess the Accel deck killer, except for Pale Moon. It's a pretty big boogeyman, right? What do you guys think of that?
It's secretly pretty good. Yeah, I think it's good.
Secretly pretty good.
Yeah, it's secretly really strong.
I'm planning to build it. It's spicy. Like
It's-
big
it's
numbers
really
and just
cheap,
call out a
too.
whole bunch of stuff on the field. The
It's-
board wipe's just a bonus too. It's not even the main thing you want to do. It's just
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The longer the game goes on, the better that board wipe is too. It's actually pretty crazy. Yeah, people are sleeping on that deck, man.
That deck
Just-
looks low key pretty hard to play though.
I
Like
think it
the
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
right.
you have to manage a lot of things. You have to manage soul. You have to manage hand. You have to manage how many more Shiryugis are in your deck. You have to know
Yeah.
whether or not you want your Jonkotsu girls to actually hit or whiff. There's a lot of things to think about. You don't just like roll your face on your opponent like Neo Nectar does.
Neo Nectar.
This is premium.
it's
Neo
true.
Nectar he's talking about.
yeah. Sorry. Even Setter Neo Nectar is the same shit though. Honestly.
I think Pale Moon's the roll face deck. Like it's actually like literally no thinking. You literally just poke, and then start making giant boards. No thinking.
I think that all your thinking in Pale Moon comes from deck building, because the moment you start playing against people who you think are going to damage deny you and keep you at 1, you have to start playing the game differently, right?
Mhm.
And so I've seen people in Japan and other places, well, mainly Japan actually, I shouldn't lie about that. But yeah, in Japan, they're playing Golden Beast Tamer, right, from AL4 as a measurement against those people who are damage denying. Now, I don't know how well that actually works. Sometimes it might be better to just keep your deck consistent, but they are testing that out and they are seeing results for it.
Probably depends on metas and playstyles, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
for the region.
Doesn't
Building a
Pale Moon
deck is
have
hard.
a counter charger? Don't they have
Yeah.
a counter charger?
Yeah, they have a counter charger, but it only works if you have no face up counterblast. So you can only get up to
Oh.
1 face up. So you can
Yeah.
never actively. Your opponent can stop you from actually Lukier in the turn after by just not hitting your Vanguard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also
It's
have
also
the
not
tiger.
certain.
The tiger. You have the tiger though. That can
If you
counter
have the
charge.
tiger, yeah, that's another thing you can do.
No, chimera. It's a chimera, not a tiger. My
Yeah,
bad.
Same difference.
Close enough. Close enough.
You guys know the official ruling? Some guy made a video that was posted saying that they changed the ruling on Knife Dancer.
What's the
What?
So so before my understanding was that with Doran, if it sucks up and you have Knife Dancer on the rear as well, you can proc both effects, and Doran would count the Knife Dancer. That's what my understanding was. And then some guy emailed them and they confirmed it, but then they took it back the next day. So I don't know. I don't know the drama behind that, but like if you can't suck up Knife Dancer with Doran and use the Knife Dancer effect, it's kind of awkward. It's a little bit awkward because you don't get the extra draw when you ride the second time with Lukier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you go 1, 2, you have like 2 Accels, 5 rear guards, and then the Doran needs to die, so you have 6 perfectly if you have the Knife Dancer on the field. So it's kind of weird. I don't know. I need to keep updated with that ruling because Bushiroad's statements are really awkward. But just know that, guys, that I think they might have changed the ruling.
I think it should work. I think it might be another mistake, but yeah, we gotta keep our eye out for it.
But
And so the logic of why it works is that during the end phase, Dorian, what was her name again? Shit.
Dorian.
Dorian.
Doriane.
Dorian.
So not Doreen Durian.
Durian, like the fruit.
The fruit.
It's like Durian, but Dorian. Okay, yeah, sure. So Dorian and Knife Dancer, right? Though both their effects will activate during the end phase, and you have to choose which ones to activate which ones to activate first, right? So you'll activate Dorian first to suck up everything, and then draw cards, do whatever, and then you'll activate Knife Juggler. And Knife Juggler is I have it open right now. At the end of your turn, if you have no face-up cards in your damage zone, that's the condition. And the effect is to put this unit into your soul and countercharge 1, right? The effect, you always do as much as you can. And so you don't put it into your soul because it's already there, but you'll still countercharge 1. That's how it should work. Now, I don't know what Bushiroad's saying right now because apparently there's ruling changes, but yeah, keep an eye out for that. But that's how it should work. Unless I'm
So
wrong.
to wrap this standard discussion up, yeah, definitely look out for it. To wrap, Philip, listen to Philip. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm so sorry, Philip. Listen to Philip. Keep your eye out for it. But let's wrap this up. What's going to win? What's going to win? I'm going to predict right now. What's going to win and what's going to have the highest representation? I'm going to predict winning Pale Moon and highest representation Pale Moon. Bam. I actually think so. And this
He's cutting out.
might be because I'm biased.
I think Shadow Paladin has highest representation. People love that deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of what's going to win, I think it might be Shadow Paladin because people like that deck. I do like Pale Moon going into this event, though. I think since it's so early and so little people know how to deal with Pale Moon is like a very close second. So either Shadow Paladin takes it or Pale Moon takes it, or something crazy happens and like Kagero takes it, and we're like, what the f?
Yeah.
You never heard that.
Royal Paladin.
Bro,
Yo, shout out to Josh.
I would put my money on Shadow Paladin, but mainly it's because this is the first event going in. A lot of people are going to like the deck. They're going to favor it. They're not really going to know what the other decks do in detail, except for Shadow Paladin. And it's because they're playing it. The deck's not too hard to pilot. The deck kind of builds itself as well. And it's pretty strong. So
yeah, I think Pale Moon is gonna win because I playtesting against it. I think that deck's just ridiculous. And I think the highest representation will be Shadows because, like Phil was saying, like everyone loves Shadow Paladins. It's like a thing. Like
yeah, it's a thing.
it's like a thing.
Yeah,
Like-
you would think that more people would play Pale Moon because of waifu factor, right? And that's just not true. People just like Blaster Dark, you know, like
No, Blaster Dark is sexy, man. Like,
Yeah.
damn.
yeah, take it from this guy. See, like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
I run Royals, but I run Blaster Dark in it in premium.
man.
Like I feel like I see more maxed Shadow decks than anything else. Like
That's the money flex right there.
Yeah.
Numbered PB.
yeah.
Dom, what do you think? What are your predictions?
I honestly think, like, I'm not 100% sure which one will win, but I'm fairly certain top 8 is going to be dominated by a lot of Accel clan. And there is a possibility, like quote me on this if this happens, that top 2 will end up being Pale Moon and possibly a Gauntlet Buster deck. And then and then just watch that Pale Moon player not get a PT, but he wiped his board, and then he's just going to get crit to death. That's like, quote me if that happens. If that doesn't happen, forget I said anything.
All right,
I see
guys,
how it is. All
clip
right.
it, clip it. Get
Clip
ready,
it.
clip it. All right, awesome. So yeah, that's it. And then do we all unanimously agree maybe the 5th deck that you might bring to this tournament is like Narukami? Is that like a safe thing to
I
say?
would say Narukami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Popular choice right now.
Yeah, it's
Alright,
Narukami
awesome.
or Bermuda. I don't think a lot of people are going to be playing Bermuda.
Yep,
I still question exactly how good it is. I would put it on Narukami.
But if you want a good build of Bermuda, you can check out Philip Lai's Karo based build on the Strictly Broken.
Yeah,
YouTube
I'm still
channel.
working on that thing, man.
All right, still working on it. You can- let's move on to premium. I think premium. I honestly am less excited for premium than standard. I think the support is very standard centric. I think
Yes.
yeah, for premium, I don't think it's the support is actually going to make too many strides here. Strides as in development, not striding. That's weird.
What's a
Uh,
stride?
Pale Moon does get Dorian, and in premium, one card can generate a full board. So Dorian becomes a really powerful first stride plus. But I don't think Pale Moon's very good because its grade 2 game is just garbage. So yeah, do you guys think anything would you guys are you guys still predicting like Neo Nectar, Luard, Gold Paladin? Is it the same thing? Do we really have to talk about it?
Yeah. I think Neil isn't gonna take it.
I actually have a feeling that DIs benefit the most out of this set premium.
Sorry,
Just
I
because
missed
they
that,
have
yes.
that Rufus, and Gastile is a good card. I'm actually looking. I'm going to be looking for DI stuff to try in my premium DI, because Rufus with the Gastile turn and a like possible restand as well with 5th element is disgusting. Rufus is just no. I think it's just the fact that Rufus is there and possibly the yellow bolts. But as for the other clans, like you mentioned, possibly Pale Moon benefits, Shadow and Murakumo. I wouldn't think so. I could be completely wrong.
No, I think you're right. I would also say that only my brain, sorry, only DI actually like really benefits from this set, and it puts it in a state where it's competitive in premium, and so I would probably rate it as like top 3 meta decks. Aside from that, though, nothing else really gains that much more. The main thing that DI gains in premium, from my perspective, is how consistently you can OTK someone now. And yeah, Rufus on the Gastile turn. Because now your Gastile turn, you don't have to play that stupid Legion anymore. So you can just play first Rufus and then gain the crit, right? And then like you can just use the slow charge that way. It also gained Emblem Master. Nicky brought a lot of this stuff, so credits to him. This is just me explaining what he mentioned to me. But yeah, so basically they just have a better consistent setup, and it just makes the deck a lot more like smooth to play and stronger.
Right. I guess, yeah, my bad. Yeah, I totally forgot DI. Spaced out on
Oh,
DI.
yeah.
Yeah, watch out
Oh.
for DIs and premium guys. That
Everyone
deck is
forgets
good.
DI. Yeah.
Yeah, because they got what's that card called? Hard legs too. The guard is that the guard restrict card?
Hard legs.
Hard legs.
Yeah, it's the
Variant
you have
hard
to
legs?
guard with like 3
Oh.
each time. It's hard
Yeah,
leg.
I think that's
Hard
I think
leg.
that's what it's called. Variant hard legs or something like that.
That's a stupid name. Okay.
Yeah.
Hard legs.
Yo,
Hard
watch it kill
legs.
you though. Watch it
Yeah.
kill you.
I think is that the one where you have to guard 3 cards, or is that the one where you have to guard in 20k increments?
No, hard leg is the grade 2 that tells
3
you to
cards.
guard with 3 cards.
Yeah.
cards.
So if you want a
Yeah.
PG, you're losing 4 cards.
Yeah.
Big oof.
Yeah. So our predictors here: DI, Neo, Shadows,
Yeah, I think we just see Neo
Golds.
Nectar. Neo Nectar just pees on people again. Maybe
Neo
people
Nectar.
start. Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing as well. People now know the person who won Seacaucus's gold list, right? We might actually see some people decide to play that. I'm not sure how many people decide to play that, but I do think that Neo Nectar is favored going into this tournament.
Right.
And I think Neo Nectar wins.
All right, I agree. I actually would put my money on Neo Nectar. What about you guys?
Yeah. Most definitely. I think Neos will always have a high representation just because the price point of it, and like a lot of players like they play standard, but they don't want to play premium because they don't want to dish out the money. But then they'll just build Neos just because it's cheaper than like most other premium decks,
Yeah.
and it's not that hard to pilot. So like, I think Neos will definitely take Houston.
First place, yeah. All right, and
Yeah.
Dom, what do you think? Kagero?
I don't want Neos to get first, but at the same time, I want Bushiro to see that Neos is a problem. So if they get first, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, this strong deck. If they don't get first, it's gonna be like last week where it's like, oh, there's a bunch of Neos, but Gold's won. Neos not a problem. But
You might
yeah,
actually see that a lot.
if Kagero or Spike Brothers wins, I'd be super happy. I highly doubt it, but the very low chance that it does, like I'd be super happy about that. I'd also be happy if DI won, because having markers might actually save you on the Neo turns. But not too sure.
All right, awesome. Any last words about premium in Houston? Not really. Sounds good. Good luck to sponsored player Nicky Goldman.
Yeah.
First place in both formats, man.
Ooh.
Oh, good player.
Yeah, and so that's it for tournaments in general for the week. Let's move on to a topic that's more interesting and nothing to do with actual cards. So this is what happened last week. It was last week on Monday or Tuesday. Nicky was pretty excited, posted that a lot of strictly broken players topped our BCS Richmond. And in the comment section, one comment really caught my eye. Tom, if you can put it up on the screen. One comment caught my eye, and it was the comment about how he said person felt like right now Vanguard is feeling more like a business, and he just doesn't want to play competitive right now because these teams and everything popping up is making just playing competitively seem like a business and a money-driven means. And that inspired this topic. So there's this video that was posted a half a year ago, a little more than that, on Solomon Vanguard's channel. A link to that video is in the description. He's much bigger than us, but it's just right to put the link in. Basically, he was talking about the value of teams. This said commenter seems to think differently, that teams are like a marketing ploy for businesses to start making a lot of money. And I just wanted to bring this topic into light. What do you guys think of this? Just this topic and this user and his comments and his frustrations.
First off, I want to say congrats to and for getting featured on this one comment. Congratulations, guy. You made it onto this video. Haha. On the actual topic itself, I do think that I can see why people are getting dissuaded, because they're seeing teams and they're like, oh man, yeah, this is just a big cash grab. But I don't really see it that way at all. I think this is a good way for like the community to actually just get better and to just like kind of see the perspectives of other people. Because think about it from like back in like early Vanguard, when like there were like no teams at all. People were just playing at their locals. People didn't really know better, right? Like, how would you actually know that your deck is actually viable at all going into tournaments and like playing with your friends and stuff? you wouldn't, right? Unless you actually like really know, like through playing with your friends and stuff. But a lot of people don't really have that privilege, and so the privilege, first of all, is playing with your friends to gain like, I guess, an understanding of like what's good. The second is seeing people online that'll basically tell it for you. And so the fact that teams exist, you actually gain a lot of knowledge just from like say watching these like meta chats and this kind of stuff, and like watching deck profiles online. And so it's just like just really helpful for people to like learn and grow and like get better as like players. It's not just like a cash grab and be like, yeah, okay, I want sponsorship money. I'm a win this event. I'm gonna make a team and blah blah blah. Right? It's not just that. You gotta see it from both ways too. That's what I think.
Yeah, well, I think. Oh, go ahead, Yuwei. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was interrupting you. You go ahead, man. You go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was like, oh, no, I'm just saying, like, I think for teams, I think it promotes like the growth of the game. I think that's why teams are good. It's just not like I don't know what he thinks like is a cash grab because like it's not like Vanguard's like a huge game compared to like the big three like other games like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, right? So like I just think like it's teams are a good thing because I suppose saying like people can learn from videos because that's how like I started like to get better is like I learned from like early videos that I used to watch things like that and definitely I think it helps promote the growth of Vanguard which I think what should be the goal for like every team they want to make the game bigger because that helps everyone out.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Psalm Vanguard's video talks a lot about this. That he outlines like a whole progression of why getting a team and getting these teams organized eventually leads, because they're usually teams of good players, eventually leads to everyone and the whole community growing in general. He outlines this, and I 100% agree with Psalm Vanguard and what you're saying.
Yeah.
Here, I'm actually I want to direct this Dom because we're all a bit biased here. Phil's on a team. You oh my god, your name's I can't remember your name right now.
Forgot your team
Holy,
members.
this is so embarrassing.
Jared.
Phil and Jared. Oh my god. Holy, I'm terrible with names, Jared. I'm so sorry. My mind just completely blanked out. But yeah, you guys are both on the Strictly Broken Pro team. Holy, my face is actually red. But you guys are both on the Strictly Broken Pro team. So you guys are biased. I'm biased. Dom, you're not currently on a team. What do you think of teams?
Well, in my eyes, there's two kinds of like I would say teams. There's the obvious where it's like sponsored teams, so Strictly Broken being an example of that, which obviously has the attention of people. But from my understanding from watching Salim's video, he's also mentioning just like not necessarily official teams, but more like circles of friends that get together to kind of like learn and grow from that. Like for me, looking at this comment, like I think I don't know if it's visible. I think my comments on there too. I don't from my standpoint, I disagree with this person because to me, I'm not on a team, and people can be on teams if they want to be. If they're a good player, they're a good player. To me, if there's a team that's really strong, I see that as motivation to get better because I'm just like for me personally, I'm competitive by nature. If I see a team, everyone's strong there, I want to be able to beat these people, even though I'm not on a team. I don't care if I'm sponsored or not. It would be nice. I mean, like like help, send help, but like
Yo,
but I
WCC,
don't
pick up this boy.
I don't but like I don't mind if I'm not on a team. Me personally, my what I would call team is just hanging out at Strictly Broken every weekend and playing with all because Strictly Broken, in my opinion, has the strongest players in Lower Mainland in Vancouver, in my personal opinion. And I've learned a lot playing against those people there, whether or not they are part of Strictly Broken's team or not. It's just that being around generally strong players, I personally feel like helps you grow a lot more and become a better player. But yeah, no, I don't see anything wrong with there being teams or being on or not being in a team. Like, yeah, no, whenever I'm not at Strictly Broken, my testing consists of me sitting in a corner just playing by myself against my own decks or like
Whoa, man! I don't want to know what you do
no,
by
no,
yourself.
okay, okay. It's literally exactly as it sounds, okay? No, I don't have an opponent and I'm too lazy to play against my own decks. So normally I just like draw hands, play cards, take damage like based on my previous experiences at every locals that I come across, which is Strictly Broken every week. And I just reflect on those games and being around the same strong players, and they're getting stronger every week too because they're learning things.
Mhm.
But yeah, just being around good players shouldn't be a deterrent. It should be it should be motivation to get better or no, as good or even better than those people, rather
Sure.
than
I'm
just
gonna.
going, I give up. Yeah, that's it.
All right,
That's all I
Dom.
have to.
Sounds good. I'm gonna flip it on you guys and play devil's advocate here. I'm say this person. Now Philip actually name dropped a bunch of people, but we actually censored the names out. So shout outs go to Philip.
Really? Okay, so
Yeah.
Wait, you can
just censor what I said. I
can you
didn't
beep it in
realize.
post? Yeah, just
Yeah. We could probably do that. That's awesome. That's hilarious actually. I'm actually laughing. So that's actually hilarious. No, I'm totally
I thought you didn't
Philip
notice.
just
I was
shutted all
thinking
you guys
about
out.
Oh, what have I done?
But here I'm gonna play devil's advocate for these people, and I'm a person who's trying to get competitive, and I see all these teams around me, and no one's picking me up. Oh man, I feel so left out of the mix. I'm good though. I know I'm good. I'm even winning these tournaments, but no one's picking me up. Wow, teams suck. What do you guys think of that?
Oh man. I mean, I went through my whole quote unquote Vanguard career without a team. I mainly played with all my friends in like Toronto, Canada and stuff, right? Like we all basically like grew up playing this game together. That sounds really stupid, but you know what I mean, right? It's just like the longer you play this game, like it's just like who you hang out with and stuff like that, you just get better and better. And so like I don't really know exactly what it takes to get sponsored on a team, but if you do feel like you should be sponsored, then like get out there and ask people. That's basically it. If you really think you're at that level.
But then it's not about being competitively good, right?
Yeah,
And in a lot of cases, being sponsored also means being a good people person, being able to communicate with other people properly, right? And
means a
that's
lot. Yeah.
and in some cases, like a lot of industries, and other gaming scenes, you see a lot of people express doubt as to how people get sponsored, whether it's actually good players that are like getting the cash, right? Like it's there is definitely some merit to this idea of doubt as to whether sponsored teams will select the right people, right? Because it's not necessarily the best players that'll get sponsored, right? There is that element of getting players who are aesthetically pleasing, right?
That's a very good point. That's
How
a
would
very
you guys
good point that I
respond to
never
that?
actually thought about.
Am I here? Straight up. Am I here? I'm strictly broken right now. Am I using this as a marketing campaign? What am I doing this as? Maybe I am. And that's Tom's point. I think it's very fair. Maybe I should respond to this. When we made our selection process, we actually had to interview every person. Did you guys all get interviewed? I don't know. I don't actually handle that, but I think
Yes.
you guys
Yes.
got interviewed, correct? Because our goal for our team was to build people that are willing to build a community. That was our goal for building the team. We didn't have to. My staff at Strictly and myself, we lose actually a lot of money operating this team at the moment because we're in it for the long haul, right? We want to build, and I guess this kind of responds to Tom's question. We are here to build community. We're not here to build our brand with this team. Our kind of side motive, like by building a community centered around our team, our brand just naturally grows because the game grows. And I think working like that in that kind of ecosystem is healthy. What Solemn's video doesn't talk a lot about is exactly that. He talks about teams having a roster full of some of the best players. But I definitely think a team shouldn't just have some of the best players. I think they should have people who are engaging with other people, who are willing to uplift the community, not just the team. Tom makes a valid point though. I definitely see if a team's filled with just really, really good players, but not people who are actually good people. What, that sounds so stupid. You run the risk of definitely turning people like said user away, deters them from wanting to play, deters them from the scene, deters them from the culture, the environment, the game. Yeah, that's my response for that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Tom saying because even in like the workforce, like there are times like because I'm in schooling for like web development and like coding and stuff. Like I know friends of mine that got jobs over people because they're people person. Like people they went against had way better like coding skills than them, but they're people or they know how to communicate with people, you know, and they're just not like a-holes, and they
Yeah.
definitely get the job over people that are a-holes, you know. And then also like what you're saying about the growth of the game, like I can't like speak for the Canada's local scenes, but like definitely like for my local scene, like I'll always try to help players if they ask, and like especially like there was a player last week. He was playing Narukami, and he actually lost against 2 golds Paladin, uh, and he was very upset. And I just kind of just sat down with him and say, "Hey, this is what I do against Gold Paladin," and I showed him like my deck list, and then hopefully that helps him learn. And then also like when Vanguard like first started at our locals, we're only getting like 8 people for like our locals, thing, like 8 to like 15. But now we're like up to like 20 to 30 sometimes weekly, which is nice. And it's always nice to see the game grow.
Yeah, I think teams can be valuable part of that growth. So yeah, with Jared's point, like I think him being now labeled a strictly broken player isn't just to show that he has the biggest package in the room, but also that he was noticed because this brand has a focus on improving the game and improving the culture and improving the player base. And knowing that he's sponsored doesn't necessarily mean that he's just the biggest package in the room. That he's also just a genuinely great guy who's willing to help a lot of people. Phil, you look kind of in contemplation right now. What's going on in your
I don't know. I don't know how to put it into words. It's because I have always played this game. Well, at least tried to play this game at like ridiculously high levels, right? So I never actually like really took the time to like step back and consider. How do I put it? Yeah, I don't know. Skip me for now. I'll come back to you. I don't know how to put this into words. It's not a negative thing though. I'm not trying to say that I only play this game like high level. I don't try to like help other people because I definitely do, right? But it's just like I never considered like that being a reason for like not wanting to be on a team, or like I've never considered that teams don't do that sort of thing, you know? It's like when you build a team from the ground up, you always expect that like the people that you're working with are like nice people. They're not out there to basically try to like slap everyone in the face and walk away, right? So like you kind of just expect this kind of thing to be like built in. But I never considered that people like didn't see it like that. People saw it as like only business, only like here to like kick your ass. Like I'm not talking to you. I'm only out there to like uh like destroy you. This is essentially, right? So like it's just like a mindset that I never really thought about like being an issue. And now that I'm seeing it like come to fruition, and like people being like afraid of teams in that manner, it's like kind of unfortunate, you know? Because like yeah, you're right. It's like we're not built to like just run around and like destroy people's lives or anything like that. We're here to like help the community, but like people don't see it as us helping the community, and it's just like then what is the point, sort of thing.
Whoa.
So no, like obviously
we so introspective.
Yeah, right. No, that's what's happening in my head right now. I'm just like so mind blown. I'm like, people are thinking like this, right? Holy shit. But it's just like, yeah, for the people who do stick around and like try to like use this time to learn, try to use this time to get better, try to use this time to talk to us, right? Those are the people benefiting the most. And those are the people who understand the importance of teams and talking to other people, right?
Awesome.
Yeah.
This got really deep. Actually.
Yeah, I know.
It got really deep. Tom, you actually just like Tom, that was a deep
Tom, you gotta say stuff more, man. Holy shit.
That's producer. Shout out to the producer, Tom.
I think your response was pretty good though. When dealing with people who are doubting the authenticity of teams and organizations looking to pay players to play the game, being honest and transparent, I think, is the most effective way to assuage the fears of people who think that it's a business rather than it's just about making money rather than growing the game. Right. I think everyone who plays the game would agree that it'd be a nice thing if the game grew and like became even bigger a lot healthier, right? So as long as like your goals align with the communities, I think it's a good thing in general, and I think that fact should be communicated. I don't think it's possible to not like express it clearly enough, honestly, to a bunch of people, because like, you know, you'll run into whole different types of people. So I like the responses from everybody from my little poke.
That was
That was
little,
a very, very important poke.
very important poke. Wow. Any last words on this very deep matter, or are we just gonna move on from that?
You gotta poke us more next time. Just saying.
Poke us more, Tom, with your poke us more, man.
I think.
What's up, Dom?
Sorry, like I think that teams, for whatever reason, to some people still has that stigma of being a bunch of elitists, just like pushing like non-good or bad players away. But I think that's the wrong way of thinking about it, to be honest. Like, if you think about like these guys are genuinely nice guys. Like, I don't know about other teams because I've never met them, but I personally think you shouldn't be quick to assume that if they're on a team that they won't give you the time of day, or like just see you as another victim like at a tournament. Like, again, this is coming from someone who's not on a team. If I go against a player on a team, I'm like, yo, if I win, I'd be super happy. I beat a person on a team. Whatever. I mean, like, you know, like, I don't. But then, of course, I'm not gonna think, oh, this guy's just out to get everyone. He needs to die. Like, whatever. You know, like. I don't know, man. Like, some people just that elitist mindset is not a thing for a lot of teams, in my opinion. But
no, I get what you're saying. With that, we should probably wrap this up and move on to the next topic. Thanks for weighing in, all three of you. And yeah,
all four.
I'll tell you this right now. Strictly.
All five of us.
Yeah,
all five of us. Yes,
five.
Wow. But there's 5 people here. But yeah, Strictly has the right intentions. I promise you that it was like one of our mission statements that we have the right intentions going forward. So don't be afraid of any of our players. Don't be afraid of any of our goals here.
I can vouch for that.
Vouch for that. Wow.
Yeah.
Poop, poop, poop. All right, final topic. Let's move on to the final topic, guys. This topic, another Facebook post. I think Tom censored the names. Basically, the guy, it was a couple days ago. He makes this very, very, I think, well thought and well put statement. He observed the Japanese metagame. He observed our metagame and observed that Accel decks are just pumping it right now. Accel decks are dominant, and I would 100% agree. Accel decks. You have Narukami, you have Pale Moon, you have Murakumo. All really great decks in Standard. We're talking about Standard specifically right now, by the way. And what he's basically describing is like the changes that Standard has seen. When Standard first began, we started with basically being like a Protect dominant metagame. Then it moved to Force 2. And now it's an Accel 2. What I'm basically wondering is like, do you guys agree with this guy's assessment? And is this dominance actually healthy for Standard? Or should we see like a more like even field between all of the markers?
So here's what I think. All right. So the complaint right now is that Accel clans are extremely powerful, and so should we limit the amount of Accel circles that can be created? That being said, why didn't we limit the amount of Protect markers that OTT can create back in set 1? And why didn't we limit the amount of Force 2 markers that, say, Bermuda could generate a month ago? Right? Like, why are we deciding to limit it now? And my answer to that is, it's just a phase. Just wait it out. Like, honestly, the meta changes like pretty drastically over time, right? And so, like, yeah, like say 2 months ago, it was like Bermuda meta, Force 2 was everywhere, Force 2 was every deck. But then, like, now we're playing an Accel meta. How do we know that like 2 months from now, when what's that deck called, Genesis, comes out, we're all playing Force 1 again, right? Like, just because something is dominant right now doesn't mean that it's that big of a problem, especially a mechanic like this, right? This is a mechanic. This is not like a single deck like, say, Neo Nectar that everyone's complaining about. That I can understand. But this is a mechanic that's just built into the game. These specific decks with this mechanic are very strong right now. But suppose, in 2 months from now, that might not be the case. So, like, if this is a problem, then there are decks out there that don't play Accel 2. You can consider playing those decks. If like you hate it that much and you don't want to play it yourself, I mean. But like you can definitely just wait this out and then it'll get better over time, just like every other meta does. It'll even itself.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Phil. I mean, like, what sets for Vanguard come out what every month and a half now?
Yeah, we get them
or
every month
something?
now. It's crazy.
Yeah, like every month. Like, there's always gonna be the best deck, whether like it be now all the Accel decks, but like Phil was saying, it's like wait it out. Like the meta is always gonna shift, especially how fast Vanguard sets come out. So I don't think you need to limit Accel circles.
I mean, like the way I see it, it's like if someone starts playing a deck that somehow counters, like in my mind, I can see Gauntlet Buster countering pretty much any Accel deck out there just because it can possibly sack for game. I think before these sets have come out, I was considered like me as a standard player. I'm a bad standard player, by the way. Me as a standard player, I was like, oh, there's so many Accel decks I want to try, but I can't afford Gauntlet Buster. But then I'm like, wait, if I run this Accel deck, the fact that Gauntlet Buster exists make me not able to play this Accel deck. So one possibility, like this probably isn't gonna happen, but like one example I can think of is, for example, Axel's everywhere, everyone's running a different Accel deck, and then Gauntlet Buster comes in and then somehow like starts killing like all of the Accel decks, and people are like, oh, Gauntlet Buster's good, we should counter Gauntlet Buster with Gauntlet Buster, and then they're like, wait, it's just a dice roll. Let's start playing other decks to kill this Gauntlet Buster, and next thing you know, Protect decks show up. You know, like I think in terms of meta shifting, like it can definitely happen. Not in that particular way I described, but that's like one possibility, question mark. Like one deck that shows up to counter a certain deck can change what people decide to play. And then that can change a whole meta like in the long run. So yeah, waiting it out, as Phil said, like seems like the best route.
I just want to throw this out there, sorry. Do you guys remember when V was first announced and they just told us what the 3 triggers were? And everyone was like, holy shit, Accel is like bonkers. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then no one played Accel until like Tachikaze came out because the 2 decks before that were just doo-doo.
Shout out to Tachikaze.
Yeah,
Shadows.
right?
It's gonna get broken soon, very broken soon. Oh yeah, I think the post actually quotes Tachikaze specifically because Raging Tactics, I think Tachi is really strong. So that's like a topic for next week's video. I know I'm not sponsored and I'm not the best standard player or Vanguard player. I'm like fairly new, but I actually want to disagree with you guys. I don't like. Okay, so I disagree with you guys because if we never came out with 2 markers, I think Protect would have eternally been the best. Like any Protect deck would just been better than every other deck. And as cards came out and rolled out, I think that would have continued as a trend. The fact that the 2 markers came out shifted Protect away because the Protect 2 was doo-doo, right? And the other ones were actually good. And that's really concerning because speaking of the mechanics specifically, that there's a power creeping mechanic here. The mechanics themselves are getting power creep. Look at Astral Plane. Like it's not actually that good because the cards are not that good, but the mechanic itself can be bonkers. And like with gradually progressively stronger mechanics becomes a game that becomes gradually more like insane, and like there has to be a cap to insanity. You can't that's what I'm coming like how much more insane can we go? And like the game, well, I think they're gonna have to reboot it again at some point then.
So you're concerned about the power creep that's happening right now.
Yes, and it's not just power creep. There's a concept in other games that Brian Kibler is a professional Magic player and then professional Hearthstone player, and he talks about something called complexity creep. That's like games will get gradually more complex as design has to happen, and we saw that in G. We saw that first you have this, and then you have strides because you have to have to keep the game fresh. Games get more complex as time goes on, and right now with these markers that are getting, they're fundamentally changing the shape of how like Vanguard columns and lanes and plussing are defined. The complexity of this game is going to keep increasing. How can we stop that when like Accel is just, because I gotta be real, Accel 2 is just insane mechanic right now, in my opinion, for Accel decks that, like you said, in the beginning, Accel decks were doo-doo. Now you give these decks the plus they need to fill those columns again. That's not doo-doo anymore. And then now and then at the same time, you're making the cards gradually stronger. You're making the mechanics gradually stronger. If they restart Vanguard again, like, is that even healthy at that point?
I want to point out a couple of things. The first thing is that you mentioned that Protect would be the strongest clan if we never got to. I disagree, because Accel clan was the strongest one, and I still believe that, because Accel like just basically has no weakness, and it just kind of shits on Protect because you can't PG all the columns. That being said, I do feel like we are seeing a little bit of power creep, but first of all, this power creep isn't actually that bad. It's not a strict creep. It's a choice upgrade in terms of what you have. So your choices have been upgraded. What you like have as a base is now better. You can choose the better choice or the worst choice. Depends on how you see it. But the overall upgrade isn't actually like that alarming. If like Accel 2 like drew you like 3 cards or something, that's when it gets alarming. But drawing 1 card isn't actually that game breaking, right? It's on Vanguard, right? Draw 1 card. It's not on Vanguard, right? Your opponent loses the game or anything like that. There are ways to play around it. I don't think it's the end of the world. Protect 2 sucks because Protect 1 is so good. So they can't really make a thing better than PG at the moment for that clan. That being said, I think a lot of how strong a deck really is does come on the deck design and not the actual marker itself. And so depending on how strong Bushiroad decides to make the clan based off of the marker, that clan will be strong. So because it's the clan and not the marker itself, Bushiroad has a lot of choice on how strong they want to make the clans going forward, and it's not the marker itself. Worst case scenario, they don't bomb the game and restart. I've considered that before. I was thinking, this is getting out of control. What the hell happens now, right? But there's always a way of fixing the problem through slow competitive change. Like we thought that Bermuda was going to be the biggest problem. Narukami, oh my god, what the hell, right? And here comes 3-4 more decks that are competitively viable. They are good into those decks. They're good against themselves. They make a new, fresh game state. They don't look that oppressive because there's fucking 4 of them. You can choose one and you can play against themselves, right? And so there's a lot of like game balance that comes in. The game's not going to get blown out. If anything, they can just like add another small mechanic like force 3 markers. Who the hell knows, right? They can just change the decks up a little bit so that it becomes more balanced in a way and all equally as strong. There's a lot of things they can do, and it's. I don't think panicking about power creep is like people are gonna panic about power creep, right? But you shouldn't overdo it because we have seen power creep since the beginning of Vanguard, and after all of these sets, we're here now and we're still playing the game. Well, I mean, yeah, they reset the game, right? But like all the way up until G, that whole thing was power creep, and that lasted like what 5 years or something, maybe longer. I'm not sure. But like I don't think it's anything to like go too overboard about. Like clearly it's there, but it's not the end of the world. That's my point of view.
Well, it's just an element of all Japanese games in general. I remember my brother pointed out there's this video talking about this where Western games are mostly about like a lot more about balance rather than bringing out fancier effects. But if you look at Japanese games, every time a set comes out, they need to come up with something more flashy and fancy because that's just the way it's designed. So like Yu-Gi-Oh has crazier effects every set. Vanguard obviously, but stuff like Magic, Pokemon, it's not that crazy whenever a new set comes out. Like sure, they're
Pokemon's
finding cards that
Japanese.
come. Is it? No, wait, Wizards. I don't know, man. But what I mean is like Japanese card games in general, like they just like their games getting like crazier effects because of the fun aspect rather than the what do you call it, balanced competitive aspect, I believe. Yeah, there was a whole video about it. I completely forgot who made that video though.
Yeah,
But
it
yeah.
might have been an article because I remember reading this too, and I was thinking the same thing. Yeah, it's very interesting how differently we think compared to how differently Japan thinks. Because over there they like the crazy stuff, right? Like if you see Yu-Gi-Oh, like links and stuff, they love that shit. But we over here, a lot of us quit over here because we hated that, right? It's kind of like that, where like it just depends on how you want to see the game. So here's another thing, right? A lot of people know Dota, right? Dota keeps their game balanced by making everything extremely strong. And then you have the other side, League of Legends, that tries to keep the game in check through nerfs and compensation by that, right? And so like either you can have balance through everything being very strong or everything being very weak. Japan prefers this, where everything's crazy, and we prefer this because we think we have more control over the situation down here. I don't
But that's
actually
what
know.
happened.
Yeah.
That's what happened near the end of G era, right? There were a bunch of decks that ended up showing up because if everything's broken, nothing's broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's a crazy
yeah.
way of thinking, but it's true.
Dona's sick,
Then you
by
have-
the way.
But then you have to elevate broken. That's the hard task, and that's the whole point why I kind of feel like I kind of agree with this guy's sentiment. I
Well,
get where you
if-
guys are coming from.
Yeah, if
Elevating
what-
broken's hard though. Sorry.
Right? No, sorry.
It can be.
If what Phil said, like, for example, if they were to introduce like a third gift marker, like, sure, that'd be crazy, but I like the idea that, so when gift 2 came out, it made some old decks that were bad possibly viable just because that deck happens to synergize with that second gift. So like Spike Brothers with gift 2 is actually, I know some people disagree, but Spike Brothers with gift 2 is kind of scary. But yeah, and like Soul Saver, my Soul Saver deck went X1 in locals because gift 2 exists. If it was just gift 1, they'd be like, oh, no guard, no guard, no guard, and then I die. But if, say, for example, a third gift came out in a balanced sense, but still like adding crazy effects to it, to me, the idea that older decks that were ignored could possibly become viable is kind of cool. And I do like over like just having to keep buying new cards and just tossing out the old cards like original Vanguard. Like there are a lot of old cards now that are just pretty much outdated and unusable now. But in B series, like when Gift 2 came out, stuff we thought was unusable ended up being used, and yeah, it's nice.
Sure. I think yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. Any last words? Just say anything. Do you have anything to add before I wrap this up, though? And Dom, thanks for the input. Definitely, but we're running out of time
Sorry.
on the show. It's okay.
Oh,
It was a valuable insight, though. You're
yeah.
absolutely right.
Actually, yeah, we've been here for a long time.
Yes.
No, I mean definitely on like the Western Eastern thing. I can see what you guys are saying. Like for Magic, like if you look at it, like a new set's coming out like next week or whatever, and then
Yeah.
like yeah, so it's just like people are still like you still use old cards within for your decks. For like Vanguard, I feel like every time a new set comes out for like a clan, like you're getting like usually getting rid of like everything that's old and replacing it with new. That's
Yeah.
gets kind of annoying.
Yeah,
Like-
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of just like Vanguard's sale model in terms of like why
Yeah.
people should buy sets. They kind of just made it like this. That itself
Yeah.
is a different question.
All right, but yeah, okay. So just to summarize, in response to this person's post, Phil does not think that we're gonna need to be worried about Accel 2 and these shifts in marker meta. And I think even though I tend to disagree, I totally understand where Phil's coming from, and I think I might have warmed up to his view a little bit more. Dom and Jared all agree. Meanwhile, the clans get gradually more powerful. So basically, the summary of this all is that it's the clan, not the markers.
Yes.
And the support, not the markers. So that's the conclusion we can draw from this.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm going to wrap it up and leave it at that. And yeah, so as for wrap ups, conclusions, summing it all up, thank you guys for tuning in to the second episode of the stand up. Episode 1, the reception was pretty good. A lot of people enjoyed it. A lot of people said it was like very good to listen to, on the car, at work, and stuff. So thank you. Once again, as a reminder, you can get new Phantasmal Steed singles on strictlybrokenTCG.com, or you can get it on TCG Player. We're going to eventually migrate everything to the official website. As of now, you can still get it on TCG Player. So check us out. Any final words, guys, or shout out before we wrap up this show?
Good luck to Nicky Goldman this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
He's down there. He's ready to play some card games, and he's hopefully gonna top.
Hopefully. Dom, any shout outs you want to give? You're the special guest today.
So shout out to my girlfriend for letting me play children's card games and buy pieces of shiny cardboard and not judge me. And yeah, shout out to the lower mainland community and especially the Strictly Broken community for being really good players and letting me learn from them. But yeah, shout out to anyone who like basically like stomped me in any games because I've learned from those. Like I've learned damage control after Worlds. Oh god, not again. But,
They
like,
got bought by NOK too many times.
Shout out to any of your fans out there.
Do I have fans? That's the real question. After
Hey,
being
man.
booed 2 years in a row.
Everyone
man.
booing you is a fan.
All the
I love them all.
Kagero.
Shout out to anyone who's picking up Kagero and agreeing that Legion is a good effect. No, Legion was a mistake in my opinion, but Legion's
Oh, I love
spicy.
Legion. Holy shit.
Jared, any last shout outs you want to give?
Shout outs to Strictly Broken. Shout outs for Dom being here. Shout outs to in my local scene. Don't be scared to talk to me. I'm a friendly guy. I'll help you out if you ever have any questions.
And then Philip, last but not least.
Oh, I gave a shout out to Nicky.
Oh yeah, besides Nicky though, Nicky's
Shout
on our
out to
team, man.
Dominic for showing up as well. It's always nice to see guests here for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome,
One more
guys.
thing. Sorry, I
what's up?
completely forgot. I'm gonna be opening these on my channel, so I'll figure that out. Shameless plug.
Whoa, all right. I hope you got those strict. No, I don't care where you got it.
No leaks.
No leaks. Probably not from Strictly. All right. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being on this episode. It was longer than the first one. Maybe we keep around this time. Maybe we go back to the same time frame as the first one. But regardless, that's it. This is the stand-up and Yuwei Pang from Strictly Broken TCG signing off. Peace.
Take care.